One of the more common complaints about the Sonic universe is that there are way too many characters. I think Sonic Generations is the only mainline game to not introduce a brand new character into this world. You know, unless you want to count the time meter, but I don't because it's barely in the game and that just turns out to have been controlled by Eggman the whole time. And sadly, a trade-off for having such a huge cast is that you're not always going to be able to use them all the time. Because when they do, it usually causes the story to feel bloated. And it's especially an issue in the Dark Age games, where you get to a point where Sonic the Hedgehog turns into Shadow and Silver the Hedgehog, plus friends, featuring Sonic the Hedgehog doing some side shit with a princess or something. I don't care, I mean, we can only try so hard, guys. That isn't even to mention the growing argument of Sonic's stupid friends, that was quickly rising in reviews and articles about the Blue Blur, which reached its peak with Sonic.exe, which is why since then we haven't been able to play as a character other than Sonic. Until Sonic Forces in 2017 let you play as Shadow, who was literally just a reskin of Sonic. Nice job, Sega, you saved the modders like a whole 2 hours of work, congrats. Remember when people thought Sonic 4 was gonna be good because it got rid of everyone but Sonic and Eggman? Those were the days. So in order to condense things and scale back, it's led to a lot of Sonic characters becoming forgotten and lost to time. I mean, when was the last time you've heard of Metal Knuckles or Marine the Raccoon? That list used to be way longer, but thankfully the Mania team brought more fan-favorite obscure Sonic characters back like Fang, Bean, Bark, and of course Mighty and Ray, who all made appearances in Sonic Mania. Well, okay, I know it wasn't actually the real Fang, Bean, and Bark, but piss off, you know what I mean. It's probably one of the only good aspects of Sega trying to claim that classic Sonic and modern Sonic are from two separate dimensions. It gives them the opportunity to expand the cast more by including more forgotten faces from Sonic's near 30-year history, without it feeling too cramped, by limiting which series they're allowed to appear in. Although, of course, with this being Sega, this wasn't thought through very well. And characters that were once seen with modern iterations are no longer canon and only exist in the classic timeline now, and yeah, this two-universe shit is still dumb and they shouldn't have done it. Now, despite having such a vast and varied array of Sonic characters, a word I would never use to describe any of them is scary. I mean, this is Sonic the fucking Hedgehog we're talking about here. The only thing scary about this franchise is that it's managed to last this long. Well, all except for one character. There's only one thing more terrifying than Sonic R's controls, and that's the second unlockable character, the Tails doll. Also, I'm gonna say Tails a lot in this video, so if you're gonna leave a comment like, haha, your voice sounds weird, please, I've already done it in this video, go away. While gone, but not necessarily forgotten, Tails doll for a while was just an odd throwaway character only really associated with his field racing spin-off, but over time grew in popularity, mainly due to the rapidly growing popularity of creepypastas, internet horror stories that were widely shared around. And with this newfound attention came memes, fan art, sequel stories, and the hallmark of early YouTube, AMVs. And sadly, this is where I come in. Little 7-year-old Splash Dash, so innocent and wise, was doing what he enjoyed most, going on Google and searching for Sonic characters. This led me to a ton of strange stuff, as you'd imagine, but what I wasn't expecting to see was this. Okay, I can't actually find the video that scared me so much. I'm 99% positive it was an AMV about the Tails doll and this was one of the clips included. But then again, it may or may not have just been the original animation itself. This was over a decade ago, I wish I could remember that far back. I'm putting a bounty out for this video, by the way. If someone can find me, I'll reward them with like, I don't know, $50. Just send it to my Twitter. It doesn't help that around the same time I had just seen Disaster Movie. Stay with me here. And there was a scene that featured some Alvin and the Chipmunks knockoffs, which equally terrified me. And it was just the perfect storm for childhood trauma. Anyways, this thing absolutely scarred me. It was one of those things that despite being scared, I kept digging for more information because there was just something so bizarre and mysterious about him. This lasted about 2 years, by the way, of barely being able to sleep at night. Over Tails the Fox. This led to me finding fan games like Tails Nightmare, which is a decent little flash game on Newgrounds. By the end of the game you have to fight the final boss, which was Tails doll, which already had me spooked. But I was so bad at it that I eventually just looked up a YouTube walkthrough to see what happens when you beat him. That fucking jumpscare got me so bad, and it was immediately followed by this cutscene.
You again? Go away already!
Okay, to be fair, I think we can all agree, this is not scary in the slightest. But if you recontextualize it to where 7-year-old me was sitting in the living room on the family laptop with the volume all the way down, I just assumed Tails got killed. The end. Safe to say this did not help my fear, especially the one where Tails doll could appear from behind my bed at night. So thanks, Tails Nightmare developer. You did good. This wasn't just a childhood fear, this was pure trauma. I even gave up a Tails Funko Pop over this. I saw it in the shop and thought, I don't want that shit killing me in the middle of the night, fuck that. But it's whatever, I don't care. I think about that goddamn Funko Pop every night. But why did Sega do this? Did they intend to make a character that was meant to be creepy? Well, first, let's talk a bit about Sonic R and how he came to be included in it. After completing their work on 3D Blast, Sega got in talks with Traveler's Tales about creating a new Sonic racing game. Now, this was the perfect coincidence, as they'd already had a Formula 1 game running on a 3D engine they were working on, and so decided to accept their offer and rebuild it to be a new Sonic title. Yes, this is why the characters control like cars. Even though Sonic Team were helping with track designs, it was primarily being developed by Traveler's Tales, which may have contributed to the conflicting aspects of its design, such as the controls seeming like a traditional racing game with slow turns and steering, but the track design seeming more catered to platforming and exploring. Who knows, maybe Sonic Team just wanted to show what Sonic was capable of in a platforming space with no Sonic Extreme coming out anymore. By the way, if you're struggling with Sonic R, it might be because you're treating it like a regular 3D Sonic game. Which why wouldn't you? But you can actually play it like a regular racing game, with an accelerator and brake, which makes it much easier to control. Still not perfect, but it's a decent game. Anyways, you'd think this means that Traveler's Tales was their creator of the Tails doll. It's a lot of Tails. Well, actually, that's not the case. Despite what you may think, the Tails doll wasn't actually created with the intent of being included in Sonic R. We'll get onto that later. Considering Sonic R's not success, the new characters featured in it sort of faded into obscurity. That was until the advent of the internet. And with creepypastas based on TV shows and gaming rising in awareness, it makes sense that some random kid would make one based off Sonic. And thus we were graced with Sonic.exe, one of the finest pieces of literature of our generation. The most blood-curdling, spook-defying, hyper-realistic, eating story of all time. So of course a bunch of people ripped it off. Sonic.exe 2, Sonic.exe 3, Sunshine.exe, Knuckles.exe, Sally.exe, Amy.exe. Not very creative titles, I know. Now all these stories are amazing, of course, I'm not doubting that. But it's just a shame that they're so obviously fake, you know? If only there was a story like this based on a real Sonic character. Well, thankfully some brave soul decided to recount his encounter with the mysterious Doll of Tails, where we got the Tails Doll Curse. Released in, I don't know, by, well, I don't know.
It's still a mystery.
It featured a man buying a copy of Sonic R for his son. After he beat the game, the credits showed a picture of the Tails doll, with the dad being confused as to who it was, with the boy saying, "That's a Tails doll." Come on, Dad, keep up, it's pretty self-explanatory. As the boy was sleeping, the dad snuck into his room to have some well-deserved late-night Sonic R&R time, deciding to play as Tails doll. After pairing him up with Sonic, the system shut itself off, and not questioning this, he went to sleep. Later that night, he woke up to thumping sounds, with one thought popping in his head. Tails? Because I too wake up every night in a cold sweat like... Tails? Then he heard someone say very softly, "You are coming with me. Forever." It was a doll. An evil, blood-covered, possessed little doll. It was the doll from the game. It had to be. As bad as the story may have been, it actually brought Tails doll back into the spotlight, with plenty of fan art, sequel stories, fan games, sprite animations, most being on the inappropriate for YouTube end. And of course many, many memes. He arguably became more popular than Sonic.exe himself. The fan base for the Tails doll is so popular that it even has its own fan website. What is the Tails doll? Let's find out. A fine question. On the surface, one would call him a hidden character from the obscure Sonic title Sonic R. That answer is a bit oversimplified, however, and much like calling Cthulhu that squid. To be honest, we don't fully understand what the Tails doll is, but we do know the following. The Tails doll is not of this world. It is neither machine nor truly alive, and thus, it can never die. It is the antithesis of life. It is the void in which existence itself is meaningless, and hence suffers eternal hunger, a hunger for the life it can never aspire to. Its insatiable appetite is for souls, and yours will do nicely. He is every pain you've ever felt, and every illness you have ever feared. He is all your darkest secrets and something you have yet to discover. He is everything and nothing. He is the future. He is the Omega. He is slightly orange and somewhat fuzzy. I think that's because Sonic.exe is so obviously fake, like nobody thinks some guy actually got a CD with a haunted copy of Sonic 1 on it, only to be killed by a Sonic plushie covered in blood. But the Tails doll was a lot closer to Ben Drowned in its storytelling, trying to somewhat ground the story to stuff that would make sense within the game, and didn't go overboard with blood or hyper-realistic whatever. Again, probably also helps that Tails doll is an actual character, not some crappy MS Paint edit someone in the 2000s made. And this actually scared a lot of young kids to my surprise. At least I wasn't the only one, I suppose. I mean, it's all good now, it's not like they're ever gonna even use Tails doll again. Right? Right? Archie Sonic. The one home for every single Sonic character under the sun, no matter how irrelevant. And in issue 252, Sonic was finally returning home to face the consequences of the events of the Mega Man crossover, which was basically the big reboot that tried to get rid of all the Ken Penders characters after that ordeal. And coincidentally, was also around the time when I started actively buying the comics every month. Well, in this issue, Eggman reveals his new creation, the Tails doll. He starts mutating and attacking the city, so Sonic and Tails have got to go stop him from destroying the city. Tails also has a great line here that's like, "You get Metal Sonic and I get that." That's my impression of Tails. He was used as a spy by Eggman to keep tabs on the Freedom Fighters, and they've really upped his creepiness, with him finally using that weird power gel on his head for once to turn into this giant monster. He's really menacing. This was definitely a result of his newfound popularity online. They even do the whole hyper-realistic eye thing at times, it's amazing. And he continues to appear throughout the series as a big threat to the Freedom Fighters, until the comic book was... yeah. And let's not mention the part where he turns into what looks like a giant, huge, gaping monster. It's really scary. A lot of Sonic characters have kind of been ruined by embracing certain aspects of them that were exacerbated online, like with Sonic being more of a too cool for school jock, Shadow being an edgy edgelord, but Tails doll is an example of a character that I think benefited greatly by taking influence from its online presence. Now all this is great stuff, and I love how Tails doll is portrayed now, but was he always meant to be that way? Was he created with the intent of being creepy? Well, let's start digging and see if we can find out. Tails doll was designed by
Yoshitake Miura,
who joined Sega in 1997 as a background artist for Sonic Adventure. He's apparently still with Sega today, working as a lead background artist on Sonic Lost World and art director on Sonic 4. Oh no. But with the knowledge that he was a background artist, started clicking everything together. Remember this little guy? This is a Tails doll. Not the Tails doll, just a regular old Tails doll, who appeared in Gamma's Final Egg along with a Sonic and Knuckles doll. If we look at the credits for Sonic R, we see that Yoshitaka was given a special thanks credit, and later with the PC port he was recredited to a character designer. Well, that solves it. Now we know who created him and why he was put there. But for the life of me, I cannot find information on whether or not he was intended to look creepy. I mean, just look at this official render. How did they not intend for this to scare kids? I tried reaching out to John Burton, the guy who directed Sonic R, who's fairly active online, but it appears he hasn't been on his Twitter or YouTube for a month or two. And none of the manuals even give mention to the Tails doll. I guess they wanted him to remain a secret character. All I can find is one character bio from the old Sonic Channel website that reads, "As a last resort, Eggman manufactured this to catch Sonic unprepared. This, except for the power plant embedded in his head, is a mere stuffed animal, whose meager form nevertheless exhibits considerable ability in races due to its lightweight design. Still, it is also able to float in the air for a long time." That's like all a lie, by the way. He's the worst fucking character in that game. So yeah, still not a ton of new info, but you know, maybe that was the point. Maybe he was just added because Sega didn't want to include metal versions of every character and wanted to spice it up a bit. But with the lack of official info, his minimal movement and mysterious background, maybe that's what makes him so ripe for scary stories. I can't lie, despite the stories being bad, I think he's an interesting character that I wish would come back more. So, with the Archie comics over, where is he now? Well, in this current state of Sonic memes, Tails doll being an actual threat has sort of been ditched, and is now reduced to a mere punchline. Like when he made a brief cameo in LEGO Dimensions. Or when he made a brief cameo in LEGO Dimensions.
Hey, a Ghostbuster! I saw this creepy doll that kinda looks like my friend Tails. Think you could take a look?
I guess he's also technically in Black Knight considering someone drew him in the fan art corner. Fun fact, did you know Sega included traced fan art in that section? That artist's scummy behavior has been forever cemented. And, I guess he was referenced in Sonic Mania? with the robot Amy and the Gachapon boss in Metallic Madness featuring a similar power jewel in their head, and yeah, that's kinda it. And that's a shame. The Sonic series could always use more villains, especially one as unique as Tealstall, where you can never really tell what his motivations are. I don't know, I think it'd be a lot more interesting than seeing Zavik come back for the 50th time. Someday I hope the Tealstall returns, you know, despite all the bad childhood memories. But even if not, he'll always live on forever. In our hearts. Now if we could only get the same love for my man, Metal Knuckles!
Stand